everybody today? Before we get started, is there anything going on with anybody's bodies that I should know about, that I don't know about? Maybe something new or exciting? Great. As always, don't do anything that doesn't feel right for your body. Feel free to modify, feel free to take breaks. Yeah, thanks for joining me. We're gonna use a ball today. If you're at home and you don't have a ball, no problem. You can fold a pillow in half. We're actually going to get started on our back, knees bent, feet flat. Go ahead and use that prop in between our knees. And just kind of give yourself a little check-in, right? So see kind of if your low back is on the ground, or if your ribs are popping, or if your feet are really far out and you're really squeezing the ball already. And just see if you can rock your hips a little bit from side to side. And just find homeostasis, right? Come back to center. And we're gonna breathe for a second. So bring one hand to your sternum and one hand to your low abs. And just inhale in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And again, just inhale and gentle exhale. And just start to notice which hand is moving. So in an ideal world, the low hand is moving and the upper hand isn't really. So see if you can send your breath kind of low down into your pelvis. And then just let your throat and your sternum melt away from your face as you exhale. If we can get that diaphragm nice and set, your abs will just instinctively kick on without as much effort. Sound good? Great. Now bring your hands to your sides. You can either wrap your thumbs around your ribs or your fingertips around your ribs. And I just want you to inflate into the back of your lungs and then the sides of your lungs. On your exhale, draw your ribs towards your belly button. Inhale. And then exhale. Slow. As you do this, notice if you brace your ribs, you have to kind of suck in your abs in order to get them to kick on. Whereas if you let them move, theoretically your transverse abdominis and obliques should also start working. Last one like this. And now bring your hands to your hip bones. On your exhale, I want you to draw your hip bones towards each other. And just see if you felt your deep abdominals kick on. That might be your cue. If you didn't, that's okay, no worries. Think about hip bones hugging towards each other and maybe a little lift of your pelvic floor. And then inhale, let everything expand. Exhale, ribs point towards your belly button. Now all we're gonna do is layer on. Think about the arch of your foot lifting without rolling out onto the blade, so your big toe mound is down. On your exhale, you're also going to squeeze the ball and draw your hips and ribs toward your belly button. Everyone feel their abs kick on just then? Yeah, great. Two more. We're not even moving. I mean, we're breathing. So I guess technically we're moving. Last one. Now go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head. Spiral your elbows forward into your peripheral vision and lengthen through the crown of your head. Now on your exhale, ribs slide towards your belly button, curl your collarbones forward. Think about those armpit muscles helping curl you. Now looking in between your thighs, you can bring your hands forward, push them into an imaginary surface, maybe get a tiny bit more height, and then hands back behind your head and just hold. Keep the arch of your foot lifted if you can, just a little bit, just a 5% activation. On your exhale, squeeze the ball. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze the ball. See if you can curl maybe a fraction of a millimeter higher. Couple more. I know it's a small move. Good, you guys. Yeah. Don't look beautiful. 3 more. 2. Last one. Hold. Bring your hands forward. Push them into that imaginary surface. Bring your fingertips up if you can. Interlace and then slowly lengthen down. Now, if you felt your ribs pop or your low back lift, not the end of the world. Let's see if you can keep those ribs integrated. Exhale, curl forward again. Hands come forward. Push into that imaginary surface. Gorgeous. Up, interlace and hold for a second. Keep those ribs drawing down and just try to lower your head. See if you can keep that integration. Then inhale to prepare. Good. How are these feeling, everybody? Great. Good. And slowly lower. One more. Curl forward. Yeah. Fingertips come forward. Push them into that imaginary surface. Good. Hands up. Yeah. Interlace and hold it up this time. Now, it's not a huge move, but I just want you to float one shoulder blade off the floor a millimeter. Just it's hovering. And then we get to hover the other side. And just notice as you go back and forth what your body's strategy is, right? Maybe its strategy is like perfectly rotating on both sides. Great. Maybe its strategy is trying to actually move the shoulder blade to get it off rather than the abs, which it's information, right? We have one more each side. Anybody not feeling their obliques a little yet? Yeah, good. Now we're gonna float that one shoulder blade up. Inhale, exhale, rotate a little bit deeper. Good, trying to keep that hip down. Back to center. Float the other one up. Rotate a little deeper. Good. Using your breath here. Good, everybody. Now, I personally get more out of my feet being on the floor, so I have a more stable base for my hips. However, you can bring your legs to your tabletop as you rotate. But notice if you, I like how, yes, one person is bringing their legs to tabletop. If you do, notice how maybe one side has like a little hike in it, right? It's information, but no judgment, right? Last one, each side. If your feet are up, you can bring them down. Head comes down, nice job. Go ahead and let your knees go to one side. Inhale into your sideline. Exhale, drag the ribs back. Let's do the other side. It's a nice little stretch. Come on back. Bring your arms down by your sides. Now, if your shoulders like to internally rotate like mine, you are welcome to have your palms up towards the sky or facing each other. Now we're in a neutral spine, hopefully, where your hip bones and pubic bone are on one plane. Maybe there's a little space in your low back, maybe not. On your exhale, melt your low back to the ground, tuck your tailbone. So we're in a small imprint, not a huge one, just a little baby imprint. Rock back to center. Let's do that a couple times. So don't try to get as high as possible, or if you notice that you're clenching through your glutes or the fronts of your thighs, keep your range a little smaller. We're sinking ribs and low back to the ground. We're lengthening through the fronts of our thighs to get there. Good. Last one, hold. Now press into your big toe mound a little bit. You can also press into the floor with your triceps, peeling your spine up into a small bridge. At the top of this bridge, check in. If you feel your back crunching or are lifting from your armpits or have your weight on your neck, see if you can sink your sternum away from your face, tuck your tailbone and find your underbutt. And then melt through your throat, your ribs, your low back, your hips. Good, gorgeous, everybody. Peeling your spine back up as if you're peeling a sticker off the wall. And then you can melt and roll all the way down. Now we're gonna do a few more bridges, but let's try something just for fun, all right? You guys are like, fun? Yeah, it's a great time. We're gonna come to the top of our bridge. Now make sure that your glutes are really active here. And on the way down, keep them active, right? As you articulate. Yeah. Come back up into your bridge. Now this time, as you control the articulation down, try to let your glutes go. Try to let them be soft. And notice how much harder it is and how much more your abs have to do as you roll down. Yeah? Last one. Try to push down with your toes, lift up from the bottom part of the glute, but without clenching. Breathing into your back, and then melt and articulate down. Now you have the prop in between your knees. Go ahead and drop it and bring one foot on top of it. Now, with that foot, push just into the heel. The toes might lift, and then push into the toes. The heel might lift. Back and forth just a couple of times. Good. Now, press straight down, hip hinge up into that bridge. How does that hamstring feel? Yeah, already, right? Now we're going to hip hinge halfway down, press into the ball to lift back up. And again. Now, if the ball starts creeping away from you, push down more with your toe and think about dragging your heel back. Virginia, you okay? Yeah, hamstring cramp? Yeah. Yeah. Two more. And then we're just going to change it up a small bit. Now, when we come down, I want your knee to stay pointed to the sky like it is, but we're going to internally rotate our feet. So we're going to, just the one. So we're going to kind of point the toes in, knee stays up. Press and lift. See if you feel this in a different part of your hamstring. Yes, hip hinge down, I'm sorry you guys, and press up. This part of our hamstring tends to maybe be a little less dominant than the lateral side. So putting a little bit of intention will hopefully help it strengthen some. We've got just a couple more. Making sure that you don't feel torque on your knee, okay? It's a whole new world. Yeah, last one, we get to hold it up. Now, if it's appropriate for your body, the foot that is on the floor, keep the toes on the ground, lift the heel. That's it. Press the heel back down. Lift the heel and press it back down. Couple more. Two. Last one. Melt and roll all the way down. Go ahead, hug your thigh towards your chest, and you can start straightening that leg. Yeah, just let that hamstring chillax. Yeah, hey, guess what? Wonderful news. Other side. So just start with the heel toe, right? Yeah, just press in with your heel, press in with your toe. Good. I don't know why I want to sing to you guys today, but apparently Might happen. I apologize in advance. Yeah, that's it. We're going to press down with our whole foot and hip hinge. Okay? Just lift, just see where you are. Don't worry, you don't have to have your toe pointed in yet. And just hip hinge down. Good, and lift. You guys are cracking me up. Yeah, it's harder for me too. It's okay. How is everybody feeling? Great? Good. Give me a couple more. And this is also why I say breaks are great, right? If your hamstring is like, I'm dying, take a break, right? Even if it's just one. You have two more. Still sinking your sternum away from your face. Last one. Now, come all the way down. We're keeping the knee in the same position, right? It's still pointing to the sky. All we're doing is internally rotating our tibia. That's it. So our toes get to point in a little bit. Steel yourself. And we go. Bring it up. Oh. And this is my challenging side, and hip hinge down. Good. You guys doing okay? Good. Finding new muscles? We're still going to do a bunch of these, you guys. Yeah, two more. Last one, we get to hold it up. And now we just lift the other heel. Keep the toes down. Press. I like how it's at one entire side of the room, and then this side is just kind of giggling a little bit. I'm like, do I have to separate you? I would never. Last one. Roll it all the way down. Bring the knee to your chest, and then see if you want to extend the leg. Oh, nice job, you guys. All right, let's go ahead and bring our hands behind our thighs. Press your thighs into your hands, and you can roll up. Nice. Now, we're going to bring the ball behind us just for a little bit of support. Now, if at any point you're like, I'm done with the ball, I don't need it. Great. Go ahead and plant your feet and rock your hips forward a little so you're on your sits bones. Right? And just see if it's easier to sit up tall if you're on your sits bones rather than like down below, right? Now we're gonna find our armpit muscles. Think about drawing them down. And now press into your feet, curl your tailbone, finding your abs. You might push a little bit into the ball and then dive forward and then restack. No problem, right? Easy breezy. Curl, good, good. And then dive forward and restack. Now, if you're like, I want the ball a little farther away, perfect. You're always welcome to do that. Curl. Everyone's proportions are different, right? So for example, I have short little T-Rex arms. I can't even touch the ground, flat palmed. So my arms straighten really fast. Maybe you've got like these lovely long arms. You might keep your elbows bent if straightening them is just going a little baby bit too far. Okay, you just had to check, didn't you? Yeah, 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 yeah. Good. Two more. So I thought it was funny. In high school, our dress code was nothing shorter than fingertip length, but I have these short little arms so I could wear the shortest things ever. And they changed the dress code after I graduated. because of it. All right, we're gonna curl it back and hold. Still try to pull the armpits down, sink the ribs down and back. Good. And just let go with one arm. No problem. Katie, it's okay. Relax your shoulders. Yeah. And then pull the armpit down, other side. Yeah. So maybe this is where you are, right? Maybe you don't want to use the ball. No problem. You can always try without. Maybe you don't want to hold on to your legs anymore, in which case, press your hands down into your knees from your armpits and abs. And then, yeah, it just activates a little bit more muscle. Good. How's everybody doing? Still all right? Good. Now, if for any reason your hip flexors are like, I'm doing all the work, think about inner thighs. You can even bring the ball in between your inner thighs, okay? Last one like this. Now we're gonna press down, open one arm out to the side, hold, yep, and then bring it back. Good, breaks are great. Now notice how I'm trying to stare straight ahead. This is a counter rotation move. We will get rotation, don't worry, but we're gonna start by resisting it. Good. You're welcome to move the prop wherever you need to. Use your breath. Good. How's everyone feeling? Great. Now imagine that arm is really just kind of pushing through something viscous like pudding, right? Good. Get a little texture to the movement. Now we can hold, flip the palm, let yourself rotate a little bit. Yeah. And then back. Other side. Hold, flip the palm, rotate. Yeah. Now if you're like, what? Oh, look what I'm doing. Oh, I'm holding on to my thighs. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a big move, right? Good. Nice work, everybody. We got just a couple more. If you accidentally, like touch fingers with your neighbor, just hold hands. It's fine. We're friendly. Good. One more each side. Good. And then come back. Nice work. Good. Restack. All right. Hands come forward, shoulders melt just out of the ears. Now we're going to curl back an inch. If you have the ball behind you, go ahead and bring it in between your knees. We're going to curl back an inch, squeeze the prop, curl back an inch, squeeze the prop. Virginia, move forward a little bit. Yeah, and curl back an inch. Good. And curl back an inch. And then see if you can come forward. Nice. Let's do it again. Good. Now the great news is, if you get stuck, who cares, right? If you get stuck and you're like, I can't get back up, use your legs, right? No problem. Good. Couple more. Unless you need a break, in which case that's fine too. It's great. Yeah. Good. Feel free to squeeze that cup. Yeah, push your heels down on the ground. That was great. Use your breath. You got this. You've got this. Yeah. Nice. You guys, so when we do roll-ups, this is like the hardest part. So now we're just going to roll it back. Hold. We're just going to do one quick thing. Hands behind your head. I'm so sorry, Nancy. Yeah, and then widen through your elbows. And hold. Squeeze the prop. Good. Try not to let the head come forward. So nose stays back. Yeah, good. Yeah. Breaks are great though, right? If you're like, this is too much for me, come up some. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, and we don't have to take the elbows behind us. They're just go into the opposite wall. 2. Last one, I know. And then we can come all the way down. Those were great for me to watch. All right. Now, I just heard you guys like lay a bunch of eggs by dropping the ball. Now, all we're going to do is change neutral versus imprint. So we're going to imprint once. So neutral, imprint your spine, come back to neutral. All right. Now come into your chest lift. Hands can come forward, and we're just going to imprint the spine. Notice how much easier it is to get height when you imprint. So let yourself come back to neutral. Inhale, exhale, imprint, push your hands forward at the same time. See, yeah, it's magic. Yes, good. I know it's hard. Grab your legs, it's fine. Yeah, it was perfect. You know what? That was great. Yeah. So let's try it one more time now that you guys know what we're doing. Yeah, first one never ever counts, right? So we're just gonna lift our chest, reaching the fingertips forward, and let the spine imprint as you push your fingertips forward. Yeah, see how much easier that second one was? Now that everybody did such a good job with that second one, let's just do last one for good measure. Good. So these are like a harder version of roll-ups because we don't have the leverage of our feet, right? So now that we're up, let's take the ball. We're gonna pop it behind our back. Hands can stay behind our head. Yeah, nice. And just go ahead and let yourself relax over it for a second. Now, I would like it as much just like in the center of your rib cage as possible, as opposed to in the lower back. But everybody's proportions are different, so you might have to change where the ball resides, okay? Now, just think about sinking your ribs down and then push the ball away as you come forward. Yeah. Now notice how your ribs sink down. Keep them there as you resist gravity. So imagine I'm trying to push you down and you're like, I'm fine, I'll go, but not without a fight, right? Because we're still trying to use those muscles eccentrically, right? And then we can relax for a second and then curl back up. Good. Couple more. And then as you do this, if you are like, I'd like a little bit more support, you can slide down. If you're like, I would like less support, you can slide closer to the ball. Yeah. Nice, you guys. Now all we're gonna do is pay attention to our feet. So we're going to push one foot down so much that the other knee lifts. Yeah. And then slowly push that foot down, toe ball heel, and curl so the other knee lifts. Yeah. Still resisting gravity here. Good. Yep. Beautiful. How's this feeling? So good? Great. Now all we're going to do is add a small rotation towards the knee. Yeah. And then slow extension. And then slow rotation. Good. Now, much like when we pressed down into our knees, we got a little bit more abdominal connection, yeah? We're now going to utilize that, rotate towards that knee, take that hand, we're gonna push the hand into the leg, match the effort with the leg. Yeah, good. Beautiful. And down. Now think more about the pinky finger side rather than the thumb side. We're trying to find the armpit rather than the neck. So if you're like, well, I have trouble finding it, find an angle that works for you. I kind of like the side angle where I'm trying to pull my leg across and then using my glute to push into the hand. But you can also push straight on. Everyone doing okay? Great. Got a couple more in you? Good. If you don't, guess what? Breaks are great. Good. Yeah. Now we're going to come just up a little bit. So we're not going to come up as high. Both feet stay down. Now inhale. Exhale, just think about lifting your sternum towards the sky so you take like 1% of your weight off the ball. Yeah, and then relax back. Exhale. Take 1% of your weight off the ball. Anybody else immediately start trembling? Yeah. Couple more. Okay. Once again, it's sternum. If the hip flexors are trying to do too much, don't lift up as high. Okay. Couple more. Good. Yeah, yeah. You can lift that. Yeah, there you go. Here's back that way just a little. Yes. Good. Everybody relax your face. Last one. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Rotate to one side. Maintain your rotation. Extend over the prop. Maintain your rotation. Come up. Hold. Yeah. Maintain your rotation. Extend. And come up. Good. 2 more on this side. If you need to move the prop, that's all right. Try to keep both hips heavy. Yeah. Last one. Other side. And all we do is maintain and extend. When you get at the bottom, if you're like, ooh, I feel those obliques inflate, let them move. See if you can get a stretch. And then exhale, curl. So they're working concentrically. That eccentric. Just a couple more. How's it going? How you guys feeling? Good. 2. Last one. Come back to center and actually relax over your prop a little bit. You guys are doing great. You can let those arms come overhead if you want. Huh? Now, we are coming up all the way just for a second. We're going to move the prop to the side. We are doing some roll-ups, but they should feel so much easier now that we've done all of that other stuff. But guess what? There's so many options. Reach your hands forward, shoulders draw down. Now I'm going to use you as an example. Everybody see that Nancy has a gardening pad over there? She's got it underneath her lower back. It's just the prop she needs. So we had more gardening pads around. I'm sure there are more. We also could fold a little towel once or twice if you just need a little bit of padding underneath your back, right? So when we come up, use your breath, rolling forward. Yeah. You guys, this all looked amazing. Good. Now, those looked incredible, but if you're like, oh man, my hip flexors are really tight today, I'm having trouble moving my spine, bend your knees a fraction of an inch, right? Yeah. You can slide your feet with you. Right? You can slide them away from you. Use your breath more, Kyle, and you got it. Yeah. Also, Kyle, if you separate your feet this much, I think it'll help. I'm gonna watch. Yeah. Yeah, good. Now, if at any point you get stuck, use your leg. Yeah, that's fine. If you're still getting stuck, you can roll over to your side. Yeah. Now, if you are like, these are old hat, I got this, I'd like to advance it, you can do neck pull. So if you if you want to do neck pull, we're not actually pulling on the neck, I promise. We're going to think about pulling down a sports bra so the ribs are connected, hinge back, and then slowly descend. If at any point you need to offset, that's okay. And then when you come up, if you can, keep your hands behind your head. It's much harder than it should be. And then we restack. So if at any point in that you're like, okay, I got this part, oh, but I'm gonna fall, bring your hands, right? No problem. If you're like, well, I can do most of it, but I need to bring my hands forward for a second, great, no problem. Last one like this. Good, yes. And then we get to come all the way down. Bringing your legs with you. Good, hug your knees towards your chest for a second. Yeah, no problem. Now go ahead, hands behind your thighs, shoulders melted, and just push your thighs into your hands so you feel your hamstrings connect a little bit, yeah? Now, just bend your elbows as you curl forward. If at any point you need to put your head down, that is okay. And we're going to push the legs away even more. So you're kind of up. Now, push hands and feet away from each other, boom, and then let them come back in. Now, if at any point you're like, what I'd like to do is have my head down, that's fine. Just don't take your feet as low unless you can control it. You can also tap a toe towards the ground instead of extending, okay? So if at any point you're like, I need a break, do a toe tap or even a double toe tap, right? Otherwise, we're finding that connection and then we're maintaining that height as much as possible. So we're on our low back. It's like single leg stretch, except it's both legs. It's double leg stretch. 2. Last one. Good. Now hands behind your head. Push one foot away, like you're pushing a couch away. Rotate to that other side. Hold. Now we're gonna get a little silly. We're gonna rotate onto our side. Yeah. And rotate back. And then switch. And hold. And rotate. And back. Now if you're like, I would like to have a little assistance. Instead, you're going to keep one foot on the ground. No problem. You'll just switch feet, have one foot on the ground. If that's still a bit much, no problem. You'll bring one arm overhead, extend the opposite leg out. Keep your head down, just rotate and switch. Good. Now, is it easier to one side than the other? Is it more exciting to one side? Do you feel how when you rotate to one side, that side glute kicks on a bit? Yeah? Yeah. Now, see if you can get that side glute to stay just gently active when you come back to center. Right? So of course it's oblique, but now we're shifting it to side glute. See if that side glute can maintain a little. Yeah, we only have one more each side unless you need a break, in which case, take one. Come back to center, both feet down. Head comes down, nice job. Now, think about your thigh bones suction cupping into the socket, push one foot away. Maybe it starts to hover, maybe it doesn't. Other side. Now, as it pushes away, if your back arches or your hip bones come with it, think about sinking the ribs down. You're actually trying to find like a tension rod of work from the ribs. So as you push a foot away, you push your ribs down a little and try to attach your ribs to that thigh. 5 gold stars to whoever can name the muscle that attaches our bottom ribs to our lesser trochanter. Psoas, did I hear psoas? Yeah. Last one. Now, you can try pushing both feet away as you push your ribs down. Maybe you're like, oh, that's not right for my body today, in which case don't do it. But you want to sink the ribs, bias towards a posterior tilt, let the knee or the feet potentially hover. Yeah. One more. right, it's hundreds time. Yes, so you can either bend your feet. We're gonna all start here. So feet on the ground, knees bent, head down, just start pumping your arms. Use your breath to help stabilize your spine, right? Send your breath low. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe you want to lift your chest. Great. Maybe you want to lift your feet up, or maybe you want to extend them out some. If pushing your feet away from you felt good, you can bring it into this lower hundreds position, yeah? Reaching your fingertips, yeah. Almost there, 5, 4, nice strong arms, laser beams at those fingertips, trying not to let the chest move. Yes, and hug your knees in towards your chest. Gently rock from side to side. Nice work, you guys. I have great news. We're coming up onto hands and knees. Yeah. So if for any reason you're like, man, I really hate being on my hands on these squishy mats, you can bring them onto the floor. You can be on your fists. You can always come onto your forearms, all right? If you're on your hands, put a little bit more pressure through your pointer finger. Think about pushing the floor away a little bit, lifting your ribs slightly. Yeah, good. Now just slide one foot out and hold. Push into that foot a little bit and then let it fold in, and just notice if your hips moved. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Other side. Good. Now, if for any reason, like quadruped, like a bird dog, is challenging for you, you can always push your foot into the wall, right? That can offer just a little bit of support if you need it. Good. Now, maybe this is where you are. Maybe you want to barely hover that foot off the ground. Now, we're not letting the leg come up. We're not letting the hips drop down. We're trying to find core stability here. So we are finding one long line from our ear to our foot. So bias towards a slightly lower foot than higher, right? So we don't want those erectors to take over. You can always add the opposite arm if it's appropriate, right? But make sure you can hold this at the end. So Jen, lift your ears a little bit. Yeah. Sorry, Jess. Sorry, my brain was like, lift your ears a little bit. Yeah, belly button. Yeah, there you go. And then think about your hip bone pointing towards the ground as you extend. Yeah, do you feel that glute kicking on more? Good. Good, yes, beautiful. Nice. Now, if this feels good and easy, same side arm and leg. It's much more exciting. If you try it and you're like, I can't do this. Hey, guess what? Keep the foot down. If you're like, that still sucks, stick with opposite, it's fine. Yeah. It's so hard, right? Yeah. So who feels like they either have to rotate or they're gonna fall? Yeah. Yeah. So when you do that, think about your knee pressing down and out a little bit to get that glute on. Right? Yeah. So, yeah. 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 Just try it. Yeah. 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 It's much harder, but yeah. Yeah. But it's exciting. Yeah. Last set, you guys. I probably already said that, but it's a lie. Good. Practice. All right, so now we're gonna push into the floor, tuck your toes, and just hover your knees for a second. That's it, just a baby hover. And then you can tap them down. Inhale, exhale, press into your feet, press into your hands, little hover. Yeah, good. It's not the end of the world, is it? No, no. You know me so well. Good. Couple more. Good. Now all we're going to do is hold it up. That's it. And tuck your tailbone round your back, and then flatten out through your back. And then around and flatten. That's it. If you need to, bring your knees down for a second, right? No problem. Good. Yeah, nice. Now, we're holding, you guys are holding, we're gonna step back, back, plank, ta-da! Beautiful, you are already in a fantastic position. Yeah, if you need a break, take one. Lift your hips up for me just a little bit more. Yeah. From here. Yeah, so think about lifting your ribs more and then your belly button more. Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Yes, there you go, good, perfect. Yeah, good. Yeah. Good. And breaks are great, right? Just ears, yeah, there you go, and then a little tuck. Good, you got it. We're holding a plank. Yeah. And then you can bend one knee. Yeah, and then yeah. Good. If you need a break, take one. Hey, if you need to, if you're like, I just want to be on my knees here, you can be in a knee plank. We have two more. Knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position, rolling out your wrists. You guys are champions today, by the way. Now we're going to be on forearms and knees for a second. Let's find our glutes a little bit more, yeah? Yeah. So before we get crazy with any amount of exercise, we're just going to slide one foot out. Now, that leg, it no longer exists. It is floating in the ether. You're just going to shift your weight to your knee side. Okay? Now, that isn't really an active position, right? So what we're going to do is push the knee down and out to typewriter our hips back to center. Nancy, keep your foot down. I'll show you from a different angle. So all we're going to do, and then we shift back. We're just finding center, active center. Shift out of it, find active center. Yeah. Try to keep both hips on the same plane. So if we're dropping down, try to keep it elevated. Last one. Find center. Yep. And now push that foot away from you. Hold. Good. And then find your abs a little bit more. Yeah, good. Now just tiny little squeezes of that glute. Doesn't have to be high. And in fact, if it's really high, but you feel your back or you notice your pelvis is moving or you're sinking into your shoulders, you might be going a little bit past your range of motion in your hip joint, right? We have just a couple more. 4, 3, 2, hold. Moving from our upper thigh bone, point your knee to the side. Your foot will come along for the ride. Yeah, same thing. Tiny squeeze. All we did was this. We went from here to here. Yep, just tiny squeezes. Yep. 5. Yeah. 4, 3, 2. Hold. Tiny circles, keeping that knee pointing out. 5. How's that stabilizing glute doing? Yeah. 3, 2. Reverse your circle. So lengthening through your ears. If at any point you need to, put your head down on the ball. Now all we're going to do, hold. Moving from your upper thigh bone, rotate till your knee is down, and then rotate till your knee is slightly in. Little lift and lowers. Do you feel this in a different part of your glute? Yeah? Yeah. 3. Notice how your toes are pointing in. Yeah. 2, good. Last one, little circle. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, reverse the circle. Good job. Now just bring your knee and toe to point the ground. Bend your heel toward your glutes. And then flex your foot, tiny little presses towards the sky. Notice how now it is more hamstring with that glute, yeah? If you're like, I can't tell, grab your prop, pop it in between your calf and your thigh, and squeeze it like a lemon. Good. We have 4, 3, 2, hold. And squeeze a little harder and lift a little higher. And hold for 4, 3, 2. Slowly lower. Right? Press yourself into a little rest position. Now I have the best news ever. Other side. Know why it's the best news ever? Because otherwise we'd be doing the same side again. And then walking in the circle. So, yes. Yeah. So that's like, just make sure it's in the glute as opposed to like the TFL and you're golden. Yeah. So let's go ahead, extend that leg out. Yeah, that's great. And just shift your hips to the side. Now push that knee down and out. Come back to center so that glute is active. And then sink into it. Press, shift back. So it's like just a little typewriter movement. Or you're swiping right and left, right? And hold. Now, maintaining that, push your foot away from you, bring it up, hold. Now, it's easy to think about lifting the foot, but what I want is just for you to access the glute a little bit more. So I don't really care if the foot moves that much, if at all, but you're just squeezing the butt, squeezing the underbutt, right? Just a little bit. 5, 4. Legs should be straight, but not hyperextended, right? 2. Now all we're gonna do, moving from our upper thigh bone, like you're screwing a light bulb in the socket, rotate it so the knee is pointing out. If the foot comes along for the ride, that's great. Keep lifting, little squeeze, little squeeze. Notice if the foot is trying to lead the charge though. If it is, let it dangle. All right, we wanna go 5, yep. 4, feel free to put your head on the ball. And little circle. Tiny little circle. Good job, you guys. You guys look great. Trying not to let the spine move. And then we reverse. So here's the thing. Is it okay to let your spine move when you're moving and living life? Yes, please move your spine. But sometimes we also want to be able to control it and minimize it. This is one of those times. Now all we're going to do, rotate it so the knee is pointing down, and then rotate it so the knee is pointing in. All right, and then just lift and lower. Good. Notice if you feel this in a different part of your glute. The answer should probably be yes, but maybe it's not always. Maybe the whole thing is very fatigued. Good. We have 5, 4. Good. 3. Katie, you look like you're praying for this to be over. 2. And then a little circle. 5. Good. 4. Think about the thigh bone stirring in the socket. If you notice your whole head moving, see if you can make it a little smaller and more controlled. Then all we do is reverse the circle. Good. Almost there. And by there, I mean to our other delightful destination. And then bring it in, knee points down, bring the foot towards the glute. We're just gonna press towards the sky. This is another one of those times when if you need to, you can always use the ball, right? Try to squeeze it like you're trying to juice a lemon. We're almost there. How's that stabilizing glute feeling? So good? Yeah. Now hold and press up a little bit more and hold. Bring the heel towards your glutes a little bit more. Press up just a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Press yourself into a rest position. You guys are champions. Hands up and over to one side. Press your hips away. And then other side. Now you can either maintain this little tiny nugget or you can come onto hands and knees. We're doing a little bit of rotation. So we're just going to bring our palm to face forward. Thumb rotates back as you open your chest and come back. And then try to think about the hand, the arm, and the shoulder all just staying structurally still. The only reason they move is the rib cage move is, right? If you're in your tiny nugget shape, it's a little bit smaller. 2. Last one, other side. Trying to maintain most of the rotation through the rib cage rather than our lumbar spine. Notice how one side might be easier, other side might be trickier. That's okay. It's just information. 2. Last one. Both hands down, tuck your toes under, press your hips up towards the sky. You can pedal through your feet a little bit. Yeah. And go ahead, start to either walk your hands toward your feet or your feet toward your hands, dangling out of your hips. And take your hands to one side. And then the other. Come back to center, roll it on up, and we're going to end with just a little bit of balance work. Now, if your balance is amazing, you can always stay on the mat. I'm going to be on the floor. Would like you to try to find some toe spread. So a lot of times we try to clench the floor, but try to take up space, right? Yeah, heel to toe like you're on a little tightrope. Yeah. And first, just see where you are. Maybe this is where you are. Now let's just go with Frankenstein arms. We're going to close our eyes and just feel what your body does, right? Do your feet and ankles start moving? That's fine. That's an ankle strategy. Are they like locked down and you're feeling like your whole body's having to go? It's okay. It's just information. Now, good. Bring those arms down, one finger in front of your face. Lock eyes with that finger. If I had googly eyes, I'd make you guys put them on your finger so you could make eye contact the whole time. Now, keep looking at it. All you're going to do is turn your head, keep looking at your finger. Finger stays still. Yeah, harder to do than it seems like it should be, isn't it? 2 more. If that's too intense, bring your feet together instead. Other side. So just switch feet. And we're going to start with the little Frankenstein arms or zombie arms, right? And close your eyes. See what your body says. Mine says, how could you do this to me? Right? Like, it's all right. Just remember, the earth is always spinning and we're almost always able to stay upright, right? This time is no different. Now go ahead, bring the finger in front of your face. Now this time, the finger moves, the head stays still. Still try to trace the finger with your eyes. And just notice if one is more challenging than the other, right? Last one. Nice, you guys. Bring your feet together. We're going to slide one arm overhead as the other arm slides down. Yeah. Now let's try to get a little bit more through that oblique. We're going to come into a little extension, and you can look under your armpit as well. Now inflate, inhale. And come up, other side. Now this side might feel different. Maybe it's more exciting. Maybe it's less exciting. Just nice stretch. And then we're going to do a small extension and then rotate underneath that armpit. And then come on back. We're going to round our back, bring our hands together, let your back round, back of the palms, yep. And then open it up. Collarbones open, open, open. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. You are free to go. Thank you so much for joining me.